Mine is not a recount of what we did crossing the Pyrenees, but some kind of reflection on it. I come from a tropical country, an island to be precise, the smallest of the greatest Antilles, or the biggest of the smallest ones. You like it? An old song we used to sing in school days said, "Son de fáciles pendientes sus colinas." That means its hills have easy slopes.
All the hills have easy slopes.
Our highest mountain rises to less than 4,400 feet. In my hometown, the highest point is the 1,000 feet Sierra Bermeja, the Red Mountains. According to some geologists, the oldest mountain chain in the Caribbean. It may give the town its name, Cabo Rojo, or Red Cape. In the 30s, some of my hometowners decided to go farther than the Red Cape and to climb mountains higher than the Sierra Bermeja. Spain had been the colonial master of Puerto Rico since the end of the 15th century until the U.S. Armed Forces won the Spanish-American War in 1898. Resentment against the Spanish regime was one of many reasons for Puerto Ricans to accept the new order and begin to reject many things related to the old one. Spain was equivalent to political repression, priest abuse, or illiteracy, among other problems. Also, some Spaniards kept control of commerce and lands in the island. We still have. Well-being Puerto Ricans started to learn English and read the Protestant Bible, went to universities in the U.S. mainland, and became partners or representatives of sugar and textile industries. My hometowners were not such Puerto Ricans. They learned English in public schools. One had an 8th grade education, while his brother was beginning a medical career by 1935. Another lived in New York, where his parents were looking for a better life out of their poverty-stricken homeland. In the roaring 20s, a roaring machine started the electrical service in Cabo Rojo, established by Federico Carbonell Perez. At the beginning of the next decade, Carbonell's widow, Elisa Cuevas, lived apparently on rents and savings with 8 out of her 9 children, a granddaughter and a nephew. When her son Jorge graduated from the local high school at 19 in 1934, he was a National Guard. The elder Pablo was already married with 3 sons. Somehow, the joyful and merry Jorge could make it to the Faculty of Medicine in Madrid, far, very far from home, Sierra Bermeja, and the bright Caribbean Sea. When the so-called Spanish Civil War began, Jorge volunteered as miliciano. By Christmas, he was back in Puerto Rico, apparently as some sort of recruiter for the Republican cause. His hometown treated him as a hero, parade included. He was interviewed by our national press and got bodies for his back trip to Spain. Brothers Pablo, then 24, Victor Antonio, then 19, and friend Manuel Cofresí Ramirez, then 40, and a merchant, later a communist and labor leader. The New Yorican was Jules Herman Lopez, then 21, from the East Harlem that would become the Spanish Harlem. I do not know if they had met before, but that's not important now. They are my brigadistas, young, brave, and Republicans. At least Victor went into Spain through the Pyrenees in July 1937, while Jorge was arriving at Philadelphia to go back to Spain. The 3 brothers reunited at Aragon, training with Mackenzie Papineau Battalion. Don't ask me why. They were not Canadians and didn't look like them. Together they fought at the Battle of the Ebro, from Fuentes de Ebro to Teruel. Here, Pablo was wounded and died on January 13, 1938, maybe at the Cuevas Labradas Hospital, and Victor was wounded in January 26. After being at Benicassim at Barcelona, where he was wounded again during an air raid, he was sent back home in September. He stayed a few days at Sisters Josefina home at Washington Heights in New York City, where he was honored and even received medical attention from the Friends of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. He promised to go back to Spain and had praising words for his brother Jorge, not knowing that he was no more. Jorge had been in charge of a machine gun company for the MacPath, and they were about to retire from the Sierra de Cabals near Gandesa, Tarragona, when a sharpshooter killed him on September 6, 1938. I have to make a note, I was there this September 6 at Sierra Cabals. Had he stayed in Cabo Rojo, he would have never climbed so high or had such a splendid grave. Nothing in Cabo Rojo recalls the Carbonell Cuevas brothers. Only a pro-independence group in the 60s named its local chapter after them. And some individuals like me keep family tales and memories. But why they crossed the Pyrenees or why should we? My brigadistas, our brigadistas, crossed the Pyrenees to get into Spain and fight for democracy, for the republic, for modern times, for justice. They crossed the Pyrenees to help their brothers and sisters in gaining freedom from poverty, ignorance, and submission. They crossed the Pyrenees to, in the words of Puerto Rican pro-independence leader Pedro Albizu Campos, go across the shadows of death and enter into immortality. I think it was one of the British who said that they could look nowhere else. They saw themselves in the Spanish Republicans. Why me, not friend nor family of brigadistas, cross the Pyrenees in a rainy day in unfit shoes, slowly and looking for oxygen at every pace? I didn't went to the place mentioned by Carol, to the San Ferran mountain. No, I didn't. I belong to the snail brigade.
We would have it here while we were doing
really frightening.
Why should we cross the Pyrenees? Because we have to go over the fragile wooden fence that pretends to be the frontier between the French, Roussillon, and the Spanish, Catalonia, and convince ourselves that there is no frontier, like there were no frontiers for the brigadistas, because we have to climb high into our dreams, to rise into our dreams as they did, to rise up to our speeches as they dare, to hold to utopia as they tried to. It doesn't matter if we suffer from soroche, arthritis, or some kind of capitalism syndrome. It doesn't matter if justice and freedom move higher and farther each time, or become less evident or more elusive while we pursue them. Someday we will catch up with them. Someday they will become our current way of life. But we must keep on crossing the Pyrenees, those Pyrenees, any and all.